Another day, another Maker Advent, and project. I promise you projects, so projects. What have we got? Well, I have been to the land of Pound, which is no longer a land of Pound. Yeah, I know. £2.50 for 3 wooden gonks. Ashens loves gonks. They come in bits. You put the bits together, and it makes a wooden gonk. If you have some paint pens, ooh, bit of a white out there. If you have some paint pens or paint, I've got some acrylic paint pens. Not being posh, trust me, these were like £5 on Amazon. Been brilliant. The Star Trek Deltas behind me, they're 3D printed, they're painted with these pens. Not green, gold and silver. But those wooden gonks, I thought, could I do something with them? And yes I could. So with a lot of filing, some USB-C powered Dremel thing I got from Team U last year. Yeah, Team U. I did a YouTube short on that actually. So gonks, paint, drill thing, files. I made something. This is Gary the Gonk. Say hello to Gary. Gary is very protective of his baubles. As you can see, if you try and touch his baubles, he will raise his hand. He is very protective of his baubles, is Gary. Okay, it's a bit of fun. I'll show you what's behind the scenes. Let me just stop the code running in the background. There we go. So Gary is really just a wooden gonk painted up with a hole cut in for a hobby servo, one of those SG90s. Just one of the cheap servos. I was going to use one of the Metal Gear ones I've got, but I couldn't find the right screw for it, so I just bunged in one of these plastic ones that I've got thousands of. Glued his arm onto one of the little struts you get with it, screwed it in place, let the glue dry, and here we have a obstacle sensor, PIR sensor. And all that sensor's doing is saying, okay, is anything moving, anything nearby? And when I go near it, you'll see at the background, there you go, it lights up. That tells me there's something in the way. These are used in robots quite a lot. So the sensor's triggered and Gary raises his hand to protect his baubles. Really, the servo's just moving the arm. That's it. And it's all powered by that Raspberry Pi Pico there. One of the old RP2040 Raspberry Pi Picos. Nothing special, just a £5 board. So let's have a look at the code because I wrote it in Wokwi, what I was talking about in the previous video. So let me just get this sorted for you. So on the left is the code, on the right is the hardware, so the wiring, and we'll go through the hardware first because that sort of dictates what the software is going to be doing. We've got a PIR sensor, that obstacle sensor, connected to pin VBus, which is 5 volts direct. It also connects to any ground, and its output pin, so when it detects something it goes all the way down to pin 17 down at the bottom. So there's our input. So the Pico receives an input, goes, oh, movement, right, okay. I need to send something to the servo, and the servo is wired up to its middle pin, which is V+, connects to the 5th pin down on the right, which is 3V3, so 3 volts. The topmost pin is ground, and it's coloured brown for some reason, but that's what we're going to stick with, because that's what it says on the screen there. That goes to any ground, and then the bottom pin is PWM, so that's what receives the signal to make it move, and that's connected to pin 16. Nice and easy. On the left is the code. So we have the usual MicroPython stuff from machine import pin, PWM, so GPIO stuff. PWM means we can use pulse width modulation to send pulses to the servo and make it move to a specific point. From time import sleep just adds pauses to the code. We then tell the code where to find our servo and PIR pins, so 16, 17 respectively, and we also set them up as, for the servo's case it's PWM for the servo pin and PIR is an input. We set the duty cycles for the different angles of the servo motor. This is all a bit nebulous, you have to tweak it a little bit here and there to get the right angles for yourself, so have a play, try, change the numbers, see what happens. We then set the PWM frequency, tweak this to suit your own needs. You might want it faster, might want it slower, that's not a problem. While true, do this forever. If there is motion, set the duty of the servo to half duty. In other words, go to the half point, the halfway point. Sleep for 0.1 of a second. If there's no movement, just set the servo to go to max duty, which is going to make his hand go back down to his side, which is as it is right now. Now the good thing about Wokwi is I can show you this live on here. So if I click play now you can't just wave your mouse over the motion sensor there, you have to click on the motion sensor and click simulate motion. And you'll see the servo moves. Give it a second and return to normal. Click it again. Triggers. There we go. So I can stop that now. And all I've done, you can download this code. So you can click on save, download project zip. Now you can't see this right now because it's in the background, but I get a Wokwi project file, which is a text document to say what it's all about, where you can find it online. I get the main file, which is the code for the project, and I get a JSON source file for the diagram. Quicker way is to copy this, go to Funny, and I've got it connected up to my Pico right now. Paste that in, it's the same code, but there you go. Save it as main.py, so when the Pico powers up, it runs the code. Now if I start this up now, Gary is ready to protect his baubles. Gary, are you ready? Go.
Get off my baubles.
Come on, Gary.
My baubles.
Give me that bauble. Come on, Gary.
My baubles. My baubles.
It's just too fast. Gary is too fast.
Gary wins. Flawless
I'm going to put all this code on GitHub, but you can find it on Wokwi already, so you should be able to just get it straight from there and play with it and then do what you want with it. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll see you later. Gary, stop it.
My baubles.